Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And we have breaking news this afternoon. Rob Reiner's son is in custody at this hour in connection with the death of his parents. A report from the WRAL Live Center is just minutes away.
And cold all day. We are still sitting in the 20s. I'll show you how low the temperature will go tonight coming up.
And tragedy hits home. How shots fired at an Ivy League school up north are being felt by an entire community right here in the Triangle. Stories that we're covering this afternoon. Let's get right to it. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Chris Lovingood. Renee Chu has the day off. We want to get you an update on a number of stories this noon hour. So let's go ahead and start with our ever-shifting weather first. We got down to 14 degrees this morning, and there's already relief in sight. Well, thank goodness for that. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center to tell us just how cold it will be tonight and when we could expect a warm up, Amy.
It's going to be cold again tonight, not as cold as it was this morning. Look at some of these numbers. 14, the official low in Raleigh, but we got down to 8 in Siler City. I wrote a lot of different towns here. Cary down to 12, Hillsborough 13, Henderson 14. It was cold everywhere to kick off the day, the coldest in 3 years. It's still very cold outside. Still 29 in Raleigh and Durham, South Hill, Rocky Mount, 28 in Goldsboro. It's 29 right now in Southern Pines, so still very cold even at the noon hour, and that's with a lot of sunshine, a little bit of high clouds, but a ton of sunshine. And there's still a little bit of a breeze, so it still feels like low 20s in the Triangle. It feels like 20 in Durham and Raleigh and Rocky Mount, feels like 23 in Fayetteville and in Roxborough. Still very, very cold outside. So if you're doing some holiday shopping for the rest of the day, just stay bundled up. We won't get out of the upper 30s this afternoon. And by the time we get to about 7 o'clock this evening, down to 30, and then back down into the upper 20s by 8 o'clock this evening. So it will be another cold night tonight, just not as cold as it was this morning. This morning we had some single digits, lots of teens. Most of us stay in the low 20s overnight tonight. So 20 in Lewisburg, 19 in Siler City, 21 in Wilson, 21 in Raleigh. Down to the south, we expect to get down to about 21 in Fayetteville and Goldsboro, 20 degrees in Clinton. So another cold start to the day tomorrow, but we make some progress in the afternoon, and we do have some warmer air that's going to arrive for the end of December. I'll have more on the warm up and when we'll get back into the 60s coming up in just a little bit.
All right, sounds good, Amy. Thank you. New this afternoon, Durham wants to ensure people without homes have somewhere warm to sleep during cold weather. Mayor Leo Williams announced a new partnership to make this happen, and the goal is to bring more beds to shelters during White Flag nights. Those are nights when the city opens up additional shelter beds because of freezing cold temperatures. There will now be around 100 additional beds because of a partnership between the city, Union Baptist Church, and families moving forward. Wake County Schools took precautions to make sure schools and students were warm this morning. Bus drivers arrived 15 minutes early to warm their buses before leaving for their bus routes. The district also sent people to turn on the heat at schools that have had issues in the past. Some schools were checked yesterday, and other schools had the heat turned on earlier than usual this morning. And you know that Arctic blast, it had a significant effect on travel at RDU. FlightAware reports 12 delays and 9 cancellations at that airport. This is part of the series of cancellations and delays seen across the country. Passengers saw long lines at the security checkpoint. And turning now to that story that we have been tracking all morning. Actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife were found dead inside their home. In the last 2 hours, we learned Reiner's son, Nick, has been taken into custody. Keely Arthur has been tracking this story in the WRAL Live Center. Tell us a little bit more about what's coming out of L.A., Keely.
Yeah, Chris, I know you and I have been discussing this all morning, trying to kind of put all the puzzle pieces together. So in addition to the fact that their son, Nick, was arrested, brought into police custody, we have a little bit more of a timeline. So this is Nick right here. He was arrested at 9:15 Pacific time. So that was 12:15 a.m. our time. Now, jail records do not indicate what the 32-year-old is charged with, which is very important. The entry only says that he is being held on a felony, but he's being held on $4 million in bond. So that's going to indicate that something very severe is happening right now. Now, Nick Reiner's parents, of course, were Rob and Michelle Reiner. They were found stabbed to death in their home in Brentwood, Los Angeles, California, yesterday. And Nick's arrest is appearing to be related to their deaths. That's what NBC News is reporting right now. It's not clear if Nick was living with his parents. Now, this may be related, it may not be, but many outlets reporting that Nick Reiner did battle addiction. In fact, his situation inspired his father, Rob Reiner, to make the 2016 movie Calling Charlie. Obviously, a lot still unfolding right now, and we will keep you updated.
We'll be staying with that story. Thank you, Keely. New this noon, an update in the murder case against a Fayetteville mother accused in the deaths of her adopted children. Cumberland County District Attorney Billy West confirms his team received the investigative file in Avante Devon's case. She's accused of murdering her 2 adoptive children, Blake and London Devon. Now, Avante was arrested back in June of 2024, and the investigative file is essentially the collection of various pieces of evidence that police gathered. DA Billy West says right now the plan is to present the case to a grand jury early next year, but she likely won't go to trial until 2027. Now, the adoptions and deaths of Blake and London Devon, they were the jumping off points of our documentary, Broken, Foster Care in North Carolina. The documentary dives into the challenges our state's foster care system faces and what's been done to fix them. You can find the documentary on the WRAL YouTube channel. In the next 90 minutes, a now fired UNC Rex nurse accused of sexually assaulting patients is expected to return to court. A third person came forward saying that they also were a victim, and that means more charges. Brian Alvarez Ortiz is now accused of assaulting at least 3 patients while they were sedated and recovering from surgery. Court documents show Alvarez Ortiz is a Mexican citizen in this country on a green card, and if convicted or if he enters a plea deal, he could be deported. UNC Rex fired Alvarez Ortiz when the allegations came to light. Right now at noon, the person who opened fire on the campus of Brown University this weekend, that person's still out there. Police released their initial suspect, saying the evidence pointed in a different direction. A new shelter-in-place order has not been issued for the campus. 2 people were killed and 9 injured in that shooting that happened on Saturday. Now, this tragedy has connections right here to the Triangle. One of the injured students graduated from Durham Academy just this past spring. Let's go ahead and bring in WRAL's Monica Casey live outside that school. Monica, what do we know about that right now?
Well, that student's name is Kendall Turner, and she graduated from Durham Academy just a few months ago before heading up to school at Brown University. According to the head of school for Durham Academy, Turner was wounded in that shooting, and she has undergone surgery. She is in critical condition with stable vital signs at last check, and her parents are with her. We also spoke with another current Brown student, Stacy Wang, who is from Raleigh.
To me to hear that there are injuries or deaths constantly being reported, especially when it's approaching the holiday season. And I just can't imagine what it is for their family members when they're expecting a nice reunion.
Wang tells us she and her roommates barricaded themselves in their dorm room for more than 8 hours. All classes and exams have been canceled for the rest of the semester at Brown. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
New at noon, the sheriff's office in Durham says crime in that county has slightly gone down. A crime report shows a 4% decrease in the top 8 crimes. That includes murder, sex offenses, and robberies. The sheriff's office says just last week, it busted a meth operation. In October, the office recovered 7 stolen vehicles, and it also seized 129 firearms, reported 32 stolen, and recovered 31. Today, Governor Josh Stein announced the distribution of nearly $50 million in grants to help with ongoing recovery related to Helene. Hard-hit areas such as Black Mountain and the town of Marshall are among those receiving money. The money will help various communities repair, renovate, or even replace storm-damaged infrastructure. All of them are FEMA-designated disaster areas. The state gave priority to the smaller areas that may have been denied FEMA reimbursement or were ineligible. Happening tonight, NC State's men's soccer team will play for a national championship. The Wolfpack defeated St. Louis University in the semifinal game Friday at Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary. And folks, this is the first time the Wolfpack has ever reached the College Cup final. The championship game against the Washington Huskies that kicks off at 7 p.m. tonight in Cary. Next at noon, new information about that mass shooting in Australia. What we have learned about the man who stopped a shooter. Also felt across the ocean the tangible effect the shooting had on services right here in the United States. Plus, the problem with plastic, the state that wants to curb the use of plastic utensils with takeout.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with
Breaking news that we're following as the town of Cary has called an emergency meeting tonight to appoint an interim town manager. The town manager, Sean Stiegel, was recently placed on administrative leave, and that move happened after the town spending came under scrutiny. Friday, the state auditor told WRAL his office is looking into the town's policies to determine whether an audit is necessary. But it's not clear if Stiegel was fired or if he resigned. The emergency town council meeting is scheduled for 5 p.m. and WRAL will be there. A memorial is growing on Bondi Beach in Australia. That's as we learn new information about the deadly shooting at a Hanukkah celebration. Families of the victims say a 10-year-old girl, a Holocaust survivor, and a young French nationalist are among the 15 people killed. Police have only released information about the suspects. They say the 50-year-old man who authorities killed at the scene had the legal right to own a gun. His 25-year-old son was injured in the attack and is in the hospital facing charges. The man who was shot while disarming one of the suspects, well, they have successfully undergone a first surgery. Ahmad Ahmad is a 43-year-old father of 2 girls. He has seen a wave of donations from the public to thank him for his quick thinking. The shooting prompted extra security at a San Francisco Hanukkah celebration. Hundreds of people gathered at Union Square to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah. Rabbis prayed for the families as part of their service, and police increased patrols around houses of worship in the area as well in response. A historic moment unfolded in North Carolina last night. Governor Josh Stein is the state's first Jewish governor, and he lit the menorah at the executive mansion. He says Hanukkah reminds us to maintain hope even in the darkest of times. Earlier in the day, he met with the North Carolina Jewish Clergy Association, and they discussed the efforts to address rising anti-Semitism. Hey, just a heads up for you drivers out there, you'll likely see more police on the roads until the start of the next year. Today is the start of the holiday Booze It and Lose It campaign. The annual campaign runs through January 4th, and more patrols will be on the roads to enforce impaired driving laws. All right, let's talk about that Arctic blast, right? The one hitting us. It's also affecting air travel, including at RDU, where we're showing you a live look this afternoon. WRAL's Laura Levine spent the morning at RDU talking with travelers who've dealt with delays and cancellations, too.
Here at RDU, we saw more than 140 delays as well as dozens of cancellations overnight. And today, we're still seeing some flights canceled headed to New York City. A weekend storm sent temperatures plunging well below zero in the Midwest and dumped heavy snow on parts of the Northeast on Sunday. There were over 1,000 flights delayed and hundreds of cancellations across the country at airports because of weather. This morning, I met a woman whose flight from Philly to Chicago with a layover here at RDU was delayed 3 times yesterday before it was canceled. She was headed to Chicago to celebrate her birthday, but instead she had to get a hotel here and try again today.
The past 24 hours was supposed to be in Chicago. This was like a 24-hour trip that I ever did. I never took a flight and didn't make it through. And the fact that it was a layover, this is my first time doing a layover and get stuck in a whole different city where it wasn't nothing to do. The experience was so terrible.
And during the last Arctic blast, RDU shared how the airport takes steps to mitigate any issues. Freezing temperatures require airlines to take extra steps to make sure that snow, slush, and ice don't accumulate on the aircraft. They spray de-icing fluid on the roadways as well as sidewalks and taxiways here at RDU. We're going to continue to track any flight disruptions today. Laura Levine, WRAL News at RDU.
I'm Keely Arthur in the Live Center with another celebrity death to tell you about. This gentleman, Anthony Geary of General Hospital fame, was pronounced dead earlier today. He was 78 years old. Any soap opera fan will remember him as Luke Spencer of Luke Spencer and Laura Weber. They were, soap opera superstars back in the day. Now, Gary actually lived in the Netherlands and he died from complications of an operation. His husband saying today, "It was a shock for me and our families and our friends. For more than 30 years, Tony, Anthony, has been my friend, my companion, my husband."
All right, thank you for that update for us, Keely. We're talking about that Arctic blast we're seeing. Well, even the beach is seeing snow. All right, check this out. Snow falling at Ocracoke Island. That's quite interesting. The snow likely developed because of very cold air flowing over the relatively warmer waters of the Albemarle and Pamlico Sounds. But I mean, still seeing, I know it's not like, it's not unheard of, Amy, but still kind of wild to see snow right there. I think the thing Well, let's go ahead and check in on some of your business headlines this noon hour. The company behind the Roomba filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy this weekend. iRobot has struggled ever since regulators stopped a planned takeover by Amazon. Well, now the company will go private and turn over the business to two Chinese tech firms. And as for Amazon, that company is launching a new AI feature for the Kindle. The feature will answer all your questions about a book that you're reading without the spoilers. That part's key. The tool is called Ask This Book. It only reveals information up to your current reading position. You can even ask follow-up questions. The tool would be helpful if you've put down a book maybe for a while and you've kind of forgot the plot. We're also taking a look and seeing how stocks are doing this afternoon. As you can see here on your screen, the Dow Jones is down about 105 points, kind of fluctuating from there. It looks like the S&P 500 kind of gave up some of its gains and retreats as AI-related stocks are coming under pressure again. Not necessarily saying that the bubble has popped, according to analysts, but right now there is increasing scrutiny. And looks like, lastly, the Nasdaq down 89 points. Lawmakers in New Jersey are talking about a ban on plastic utensils. The bill says restaurants can only offer plasticware if a customer asks for it. That would apply to takeout orders as well. Sponsors want to cut down on the amount of single-use plastic in the environment, but caterers and small business owners say it's raising the cost of doing business.
It's a regular thing. We give everyone plastic utensils to walk out the door with, because most people, they don't sit in, they come get a takeout. They might eat in their car, they might be going back to their office.
New Jersey already banned the use of single-use plastic carryout bags and styrofoam containers for food service. And the rising price of food, it's changing how people dine out. New data released today shows people are eating more appetizers. Sales of small plates are up 20% in 2025. And one reason is because appetizers are often connected to promotions and drink deals. Customers are eating fewer entrees and desserts, citing cost. Did I eat some crab dip for an appetizer over the weekend? I sure did. All right, your time is 12:23 this afternoon. 10 days and counting. Are your gifts in the mail yet? Still ahead, 5 on your side shows you the shipping deadlines for getting your gifts under the tree in time. Plus, how did we get here? Why billion-dollar lottery jackpots are popping up more frequently these days. And a different lottery to tell you about, your winning NC Education lottery number is right here on your screen.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
All right, let's get back to our top story this noon hour. The death of actor-director Rob Reiner and his wife. The two were found in their home Sunday, and now we have learned their son Nick is under arrest. For that part of the story, we bring in Keely Arthur and the WRAL Live Center. Walk us through what you've learned, Keely.
Yeah, Chris, we had reported in the previous half hour, 15 minutes, that their son, Nick Reiner, had been detained and arrested, but we didn't know what for. All we knew that was a felony. It was a $4 million bond. Now, breaking right now, the Los Angeles Police Chief, Jim McDonnell, says that Nick Reiner, this gentleman right here, 32 years old, the son of Rob and Michelle Reiner, is, quote, booked for murder. He's being held on that $4 million bail. No information about additional criminal charges was immediately available. So this is very complicated. Of course, you're wondering, well, how does something like this, or could something like this happen? Tracy Reiner, who is the adopted daughter of Rob Reiner and Penny Marshall, his first marriage, saying, quote, I'm in shock. I came from the greatest family ever. And then, of course, so many people in Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner's life putting out their love, saying, quote, Maria Shriver, I loved Michelle and Rob Reiner. They were among my closest friends. We raised our kids together from mommy and me on up. We laughed together. We cried together. We played together. We dreamed together. We had dinner this past week, and they were in the best place. So lots to explore here, but the big update and what we've been wondering for the past 12 hours, who is the suspect? How could this happen? A little bit more information coming out right now. The Los Angeles Police Chief saying that Nick Reiner has been booked on murder charges connected to the stabbing death of his parents.
We have that official information from investigators out there. Thank you, Keely. This morning, temperatures dropped to, look at this, 14 degrees. That is the lowest we have seen since Christmas Eve 2022. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shows us what Wake County's public schools did to ensure students and staff were warm this morning.
Now we know a lot of students will be waiting out in the cold today at the bus stop. You can see some parents dropping their students off here at Dillard Drive Middle School. We know that Wake County Schools is taking some extra steps today to make sure that students will stay warm on this coldest day we've had since 2022. So we have our temperature gun here. Let's check out the temperature right now. So you can see here that it's about 20 or 21 degrees here. We'll go ahead and give you a look at some video from earlier this morning at the Wake Schools bus depot. The district says that they required their bus drivers to arrive at least 15 minutes early to make sure that those buses were warmed up and ready to go for students today. We also know that on cold days like this, schools across Wake County have had some HVAC issues. So the district says that they have checked all of those schools that have had issues in the past, either yesterday or early this morning before students arrived on campus, to make sure that everyone is warm and comfortable throughout the school day. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And hey, just a reminder, you can get customized weather alerts on your phone straight from the WRAL weather app. Download that app and you'll never be alone during winter weather. WRAL's team of meteorologists has access to exclusive forecasting tools to give you the most precise look at how this storm could affect us. Police in Australia are getting an early start to their days to uncover new information about the mass shooting on Bondi Beach. Here's NBC's Sarah James.
Tributes pouring in here to Bondi Beach after a terror attack here during a festival of lights, turning that ceremony into a day of darkness, one of the worst days in Australian history. 2 gunmen opening fire on that peaceful celebration, killing 15 people, injuring 42, many of whom are still in the hospital. And authorities say the situation would have been even worse had it not been for a local merchant who wrestled the gun from one of the gunmen. One of the gunmen is dead. The other is in custody and in the hospital as police look into what happened and say that an extremist ideology is to blame. Meantime, the country is also looking at tightening its already strict gun control laws, and that is already happening. Other efforts are underway to ensure that the Jewish community feels safe. Meantime, a sense of anxiety continues here at Bondi Beach, one of the most iconic beaches in the world, but also now notorious. Sarah James, NBC News, Bondi Beach, Australia.
Now, to get you more on this, we spoke with local Rabbi Eric Solomon about the attack. He says he feels shock, devastation, and a profound sense of loss. But he also says he's keeping the message of Hanukkah in his heart.
Hanukkah comes in our hemisphere in the darkest time of the year to place light. And it's the one holiday in the Jewish calendar where it's required to put that light, the miracle, in the window, to spread that light not only to the Jewish people, but really to the world, to say that God's light is for everyone and that goodness will overcome evil and light will overcome darkness.
The Jewish Federation of Greater Raleigh released a statement on the shooting reading in part, quote, "We will not allow acts of terror to diminish our joy or dictate how we celebrate our faith and traditions. Now more than ever, we stand together as a community, proud, resilient, and united in our commitment to live openly and celebrate our heritage," end quote. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is now sitting at $1.1 billion, and that is a lump sum cash prize of more than $503 million. There was no jackpot winner in Saturday's drawing, but 2 tickets, including one sold in North Carolina, won $2 million each. If you feel like we have been talking a lot about big lottery jackpots more often, well, you're kind of right. The first $1 billion jackpot was in 2016. In the last 5 years, it's happened 12 times. That's happened so many times for a few reasons, in fact, because ticket prices have gotten more expensive, changes to the games increase the odds of winning the big prize, and more states participate. More players, more money. Watch the next drawing tonight here on WRAL just before our 11 o'clock newscast. UNC celebrated its winter graduates this weekend. More than 1,400 Tar Heels received their Carolina diplomas yesterday. The graduating class included 655 undergraduates, and among them was a 90-year-old neurosurgeon. He earned his bachelor's degree for the first time. David Kelly enrolled at UNC Chapel Hill in 1953. He was admitted to the School of Medicine through an accelerated program, but was one course short from earning his undergraduate degree.
And I thought I had to have one more course, a 3-hour course in any subject. And I was prepared to do that at Chapel Hill or at Wake Forest, where I live. And so, as it turned out, the chancellor called me, Dr. Roberts called me, and tell me that he was awarding me my degree, and I was absolutely thrilled.
And we are thrilled for you, my friend. Kelly can now say he earned his bachelor's in chemistry. His diploma says class of 1955. Very appropriate. All right, back in the game, how Philip Rivers wrote his name in the record books again. Plus, check it out, the library that will make a difference in the NFL. You can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Next, Kelly brings us music, holiday spirit, and friends as well.
It's the holidays at Kelly.
Do you look forward to the holidays?
I just love it. But I love
the most watched news in the Triangle, brought to you by Rug & Home in Briar Creek.
Holiday savings and year-end clearance, store-wide specials and daily doorbusters, all for the holiday. Rug & Home.
Next, Kelly brings us
Oscar winner Kate Winslet.
Do you look forward to the holidays?
I love decorating the tree and the kids get involved and I let them hang things where they want to hang them and then they turn their backs and I change it all.
Today at 2 on WRAL.
Holiday shipping deadlines are here and missing them could cost you Christmas. 5 on Your Side puts 3 major carriers to the test and shows you exactly when you need to ship to guarantee delivery by Christmas. Tonight at 6.
Here at Precision, we fix garage doors. Pretty frequently get the question like, so when are you coming back to fix it? It's like, well, I can fix it right now. I got everything I need.
We'll do everything we can at Precision to get you fixed same day.
Precision Door Service, a name you can trust.
I got hit by a semi-truck, and the insurance company is trying to say it's my fault.
I had $20,000 in ER bills, and the insurance company wanted to pay me nothing.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, you deserve more. More answers to your questions, more attention to your case, and someone to fight to put more money in your pocket. We got a client who injured their neck in a car wreck, $200,000. You know me. I'm attorney Brian Ritchie, and I'm on top of it.
Call 999-2222.
This week on Detective Michael and Son.
Detective Michael and Son.
Trent, heating.
What do we got?
I think the heater's broken.
Check it.
A historic game for quarterback Philip Rivers. The former NC State star made his return to the NFL yesterday after playing his last game back in 2020. He threw 1 touchdown and 1 interception for the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts would ultimately go on to lose to the Seahawks 18-16. The 44-year-old became the 6th quarterback in the NFL history to play at 44 or older, and he's also a father to 10 kids and is a grandfather. All right, this was the hire no one saw coming. Bill Belichick to UNC. In coaching Carolina the Belichick way, our WRAL documentary unit exposes the power plays, the personal life scrutiny, and the shifting economics that pushed Carolina to go all in on football.
Carolina is no secret is a basketball school. But in the modern college landscape, you can't just be a basketball school. All the revenue, football drives the bus.
They think the biggest name possible is the answer.
Carolina is the #1 public university in the world. Why can't we be great at football?
Well, the holiday shipping deadlines are quickly approaching, but you still have time, a little bit. Talking to you, procrastinators. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur explains why you need to act fast, though.
Christmas is just more than a week away. Can you believe it? Here are the shipping deadlines you need to know about. Amazon Prime shoppers have until December 22nd. Non-Prime customers should order by today, December 15th, or December 20th with expedited shipping. Walmart's next day delivery cutoff is 12:30 p.m. on December 23rd. Target recommends December 18th for standard shipping and December 22nd for premium. Fast fashion sites require even earlier timing. Shein customers need to order by December 5th to guarantee delivery. For Etsy, it depends on the seller. Apple offers free next-day delivery for in-stock items. Best Buy's standard shipping deadline is December 20th. Sephora ranges from the 19th to the 23rd, depending on the shipping speed. And for clothing chains, Old Navy and Gap recommend
December 12th for standard shipping, but you still have time if you're willing to pay for expedited shipping. JCPenney's standard cutoff is December 16th.
So what if you have packages at home that you need to ship for yourself? The deadline's coming up for UPS, USPS, and FedEx for their least expensive options are all this week, and we are putting those services to the test. Tonight at 6, I'll tell you which company was the least expensive and which one was the most accurate. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Some holiday shoppers are turning their trip to the mall into an act of kindness. Organizers in Modesto, California, installed giving machines in a local mall. Now, inside these machines, donors will find options ranging from shoes to food to birthday gifts for a child in need. Clients receive 100% of the donations.
With this year being so tight for so many people, it really feels amazing to be able to take some of the success that we've been given and pay that forward to people who aren't in a position to be able to have a great holiday season. So it feels really good to be able to give back this time of year.
And get this year, giving machine kiosks are available in 126 cities on 6 continents. Pretty cool. Now, one way you can give back this holiday season is through WRAL's annual Coats for the Children campaign. Now through December 31st, we need your help to gather as many coats and hats and gloves as possible. To find a neighborhood Jiffy Lube drop-off location near you or to make a monetary donation, scan that QR code right there on your screen. You can also go to WRAL.com/coats, and you can help WRAL and the Salvation Army spread warmth and hope as well. And I tell you what, today, Amy, is like the #1 day probably that we're already seeing in a long time that reminds people why it's so important to give because it's so cold. Teen temperatures today.
That's right. Some of the outlying areas made it down into the single digits even. I can't imagine a kid without a coat at a time like this. And Fountain Mountain outside our TV station here growing. It's a very cold day out there. Temperatures are struggling to get into the upper 30s this afternoon. We're still in the upper 20s right now in Raleigh, 29 degrees in Raleigh. So as long as these numbers stay below freezing, Fountain Mountain will continue to grow. 29 in Rocky Mount. It's 29 in Southern Pines, 30 right now in Fayetteville. There's still a little bit of a breeze, so we still have a wind chill. So it almost feels like teens right now in the Triangle. It feels like 20 in the Triangle right now. It feels like 28 in Clinton. Feels like 29 in Southern Pines and 20 in Rocky Mount. So you're planning for the rest of the day. Maybe you're headed out to the post office to get some shipping done or to do some holiday shopping. We're thinking we're going to get in the upper 30s this afternoon. With all the sunshine, I think we'll probably do that. But temperatures will drop quick tonight. We'll be down into the 20s again. It's not going to be as cold overnight tonight. Single digits and teens is what we woke up to this morning. We'll likely wake up to low 20s. So it's still going to be very cold. So if you're headed to Cary for the NC State's men's soccer championship game tonight, you're going to need all the winter layers. You're going to want the hand warmers, the hat, the scarves, the mittens, everything. It's going to be very cold. The game starts at 7, 30 degrees at that point. By 8 p.m. down to 29, 9 o'clock down to 28. A little bit of a breeze, so it might feel a little bit cooler than that, but it's just going to be really, really cold for that game, so bundle up. Mostly clear tonight. Cold again. We should get down to about 21 overnight tonight. Winds will lighten up, and so at least we won't have that wind chill to talk about tomorrow morning, but it's still going to be very, very cold. We're watching our next weather maker that's across the Pacific Northwest, bringing them more rain, which is exactly what they don't need. We could actually use some rain. We'll stay dry for the next few days. We have high pressure that's going to be over us for the next few days, keeping it very quiet, very dry. But then as that next system approaches, by the time we get to the end of the week, into Thursday, that's when our rain chances are going to go up. 30% chance for rain during the day, but then Thursday night, a 70% chance for rain. Friday, very early in the morning, a 30% chance for rain, and then it's gone in time for the weekend. So that's the good news. The other good news with this is it's not an Arctic front that's moving in, so it's not going to get super, super cold. We don't have to talk about a chance of a wintry mix or snow or anything like that. It's going to be a rain this go round. Thursday morning will be dry to start. That's the way it looks now. That could change, so keep checking back in. By the time we get to the afternoon and evening, that's when we're going to start to see the rain chances pick up. This is 4 o'clock Thursday afternoon. So for the evening commute, wet roads certainly possible. Thursday night at about 11:30, notice how the heaviest rain over the North Carolina mountains. It doesn't look like the really heavy rain is going to make it into our area. It would be light to moderate rain overnight Thursday into Friday morning. This is 6 a.m. We still have a decent chance for some scattered showers, but about 10 a.m., those showers are moving out of our eastern counties and will be drying out for the second half of our are Friday. It'll be pretty windy on Friday, but again, it's going to be dry as we head into the following weekend, which is good. And temperatures aren't that bad. It's pretty cold today. Bundle up tomorrow. Make sure your kids have those coats tomorrow morning, low 20s. Still chilly tomorrow, but then back into the 50s Wednesday and then 60s back on Thursday ahead of that next cold front. But notice how the temperatures don't drop dramatically behind the front. So again, not an Arctic air mass, and we're back in the 60s again on Sunday.
All right, thank you for that update, Amy. So who says coworkers have to be human? Hear from a man who works side by side with a robot and what it could mean for your future.